One of the biggest questions artists ask when doing Dutch pours is how much base paint do you actually need? Because this one step can completely make or break your painting. Too much base paint and your colors can get buried underneath the surface, losing all those beautiful effects. Sometimes it can even cause cracking. But too little base paint isn't good either. Your colors won't flow properly, and instead of smooth movement, you'll get blobs and clumps of paint that just sit on the canvas. So today, I'm going to show you my method for choosing the right amount of base paint to get the Dutch pour effects I love. The first thing I do is visit the left-brained artist's paint calculator to figure out how much paint I need to cover my canvas. It's very simple. You enter the length, width, and height of your canvas. Mine is 10 by 10 inches and 1.5 inches tall, and for Dutch pour we use a thin consistency. According to the calculator, I need 5.8 ounces of paint to cover the canvas. I'll link this calculator in the description box along with David's channel because it's a really helpful tool. Now, I personally like to add about 2 extra ounces, which brings my total base paint to 7.8 ounces. Then, I add a little GAC 800 and a bit more Purit medium to make it to my magic number, and that becomes my base mixture. The consistency is thin but with a little bit of trace. All my colors are the same consistency except for the gold, which I mix slightly thicker so it doesn't sink and disappear. I also like to leave myself a little extra base so I can stretch the paint if needed. And just out of curiosity, I'm going to measure how much base paint I actually have on the canvas using a ruler. One thing I've learned over time is to take care of my sides before I start blow drying the paint. I find it gives the painting a much more uniform finish. The first color going down is turquoise green from Amsterdam, which is an opaque color. Next is phthalo green, also from Amsterdam. This is a very powerful pigment, so a little goes a long way. Then we have deep gold, and the last color is permanent green, also from Amsterdam. My blow dryer is set to low speed and cool air. I like that the paint isn't running off the canvas, but it's still blending beautifully and allowing me to keep some definition in the colors. You can see how the colors are flowing easily without resistance, which tells me I have enough base paint underneath to move them across the canvas. And the layers are staying afloat instead of sinking into the base, which is exactly what we want. And this is the final result. Using the right amount of base paint makes a huge difference in how your colors move and how much control you have over the painting. If you've ever struggled with colors not moving, sinking, or creating blobs, the base layer might be the reason. Let me know in the comments, do you measure your base paint or do you just eyeball it? And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe because I have more fluid art experiments and tutorials coming every week. I'll see you in the next one.